is question 9, which is one where you use a spreadsheet, and in this case it's for a loan repayment on a mortgage. £25,000, tells you the interest rate is 3.5% and the term of the loan is 5 years. Now all this information has been put onto the spreadsheet for us already, so we just need to open up the spreadsheet and complete it. You will have some electronic files provided for you in the exam which will look something like this. The file we need is question 9, Esme's mortgage. So opening this up, you'll see there's some data at the top of the sheet: mortgage amount, annual effective interest rate, and so on. Gives us the number of months, which is 60 months for 5 years. So one thing I like to do at the beginning is, or quite early, is just to fill down the months on the main part of the spreadsheet. Do that down to 60 months. So if you're filling down values, then you need not the fat white cross, you need the small black cross over the small green square. Looks like that. And then click and drag and down to 60 months, and if you go too far you can go back, and that's done. I probably should have filled down the existing 0 and 1 because the formatting is different. Monthly effective interest rate is done with a formula. Seems to be the same thing every year, that you add 1 to the annual effective interest rate, so 1 plus the C8, that represents the decimal multiplier 1.035. You put that to the power of 12th, which on a spreadsheet formula is the caret, and then in brackets 1/12. That means to the power of 1/12. Now that will give you 100 and something %. To get the actual interest rate, we need to take away 100, and in the formula minus 1. So that gives you 0.29%. If you forget how to do this, you can always say equals annual effective interest rate divided by 12, and you will lose a mark. Now it's possible that you may have some other change of interest rate period. You could go from monthly to annual, in which case you would do to the power of 12 rather than a 12th. Or they could even do going from quarterly to annual, which would be to the power of 4, or annual to quarterly to the power of a quarter. We can guess any repayment to start with. I've guessed 400, you could guess something else, as long as you guess enough that you will pay off the loan eventually, and don't guess something very large, which like you wouldn't guess £1 million, because the loan is only for £25,000. So repayment absolute cell reference. Anytime in this main table that you reference something above, you should do it with an absolute cell reference, which you do by pressing F4, or on a laptop sometimes it's FN plus F4, or you can always type in these $signs manually into the formula. The interest content is always done with round, because you can't have a small fraction of a penny. You will round to 2 decimal places, and the interest is worked out by multiplying the previous balance, in this case that's an F15, by the interest rate, which is in C9, and again that's information from the table above, so absolute cell reference. Common mistake, people seem to calculate the interest on the repayment. Don't know why they do that. It should be on the previous balance, the outstanding amount on the mortgage. So that's 2 decimal places. Capital content is how much is left over from the interest, so how much is left over from the repayment once you've paid the interest. So that's the 400 minus the 71.77. So that's that minus that. And the new balance is equal to the previous balance, take away the take away the capital content. I just thought I would fix the formatting just so it looked neat. So that's it. That take away that. So the we should be able to fill this down now to the rest of the table. So one simple way is you highlight the row and double click the green square. Now for some reason, I don't quite know why, it kind of gets stuck at that point. So you just need to try again. Click and drag and then double click and it should go down to the end. I'm going to check, and yes, it's gone all the way down to 16 months. And that's why I like to do the months or the time period first, just so I know how far I need to fill down. So now we need to figure out what the repayment value is going to be, which we will do using goal seek. So under the menus, it's data, what if analysis, and then goal seek. If you forget where that is, you can always do the search box at the top. So search for goal seek, and it'll get you there as well. When it's fully paid off, it will be a balance of 0. So we want to set the final cell to the balance to the value of 0, and we do that by changing the monthly repayment, and it figures out what the repayment should be. If you go down to the bottom, you'll see there's a final balance of 0. However, that's not done. It looks good, payment of £454.18, but that is not actually the number stored inside the spreadsheet. If we look onto the value that's actually stored, it's 454.179. That means 17.9 pence, which is not possible to pay off. So you have to go in and change this to 18 pence. You could also round down to 17 pence. Usually you'd round up to the nearest penny. And then if we look down to the end, you'll see we've paid off 6 pence too much. So you could fix this by editing the final repayment and just paying off 0.06 less, and that gives the final balance of 0. The other way to fix this would be to say that your final payment has to be equal to the interest and the previous balance, and again that shows the balance is clear, is 0 once at the end of 60 months. For completeness, we should fill in the final repayment at the top of the sheet, which we can do by making a cell reference to the final payment, and then that is our spreadsheet complete. So now we need to print this out. So looking at the beginning of the question paper, we have some guidance for how to do this, and we should have these have your name, Scottish candidate number, and centre name, which I've not done on my version, but you should do it on yours. There's also some settings: landscape orientation, grid lines, row and column headings, and fit all columns on one page. We're going to look at what that looks like. So it's here is the print dialog. You can see you've got a preview of what the print looks like, and then fit all columns on one page is there. You could change that if you need to, and landscape orientation you can also change. The stuff about the grid lines is under page setup and under sheet, and check the box grid lines and row and column headings are checked, and that should be okay to print. You could also have a look through the page and check everything looks as it should, and you're printing all the information that you need to. You also need to print this in formula view, and people forget how to do this. The first thing is to go to Show Formulas under Formulas. So click on Show Formulas. The quick way to do this is to press Control Shift, or no, Control backtick on the keyboard. But you might forget that. I'm just going to show these formulas here for a few seconds in case you missed any from earlier. And I'm also going to show you at the end of the table for the adjusted final repayment. And there it is at month 60, different formula for the final payment. So now we should be good to print this. So let's just quickly check the print preview. That all looks good. We're showing all of the formulas, and all the print settings are still in place from the previous printing. And you can also check the both pages if you wanted to. So part B is a separate question asking about insurance. She's choosing between two options for her insurance policy, and the question is, what is an advantage of having a high excess amount? Excess means, in the case of any claim, it's amount that the insurance company would not pay you, you would have to pay it yourself. But because the insurance company is going to pay you less money, then it's they would then ask for less premiums up front. So the advantage of having a high excess amount is it may lower the cost of premiums. For whatever reason, the marking scheme says it didn't like the answer low premiums. You have to say it's lower premiums. Okay, going on to question B, why may she choose not to make a claim using her insurance policy? You can give any valid reason. One may be it may increase her future premiums because it's looking like she's more of a risky person, or her house is more risky to insure, unfortunately. So let's say this, it may increase future premiums. Another possible reason would be if the amount of her claim is less than her excess, then the insurance company wouldn't be paying out anyway, so there'd be no point in making a claim. Okay. Part C, we have a new loan repayment schedule to fill in with a fixed payment of £550, so slightly different. We need to work out how long it will take to pay off the loan. And again, we'll do all of this on the spreadsheet. So part C, we have to we have to do a new loan repayment schedule with a fixed monthly repayment of £550, and then we find out how many months it'll take to pay off the entire loan. So we use the same formula as before to get the monthly effective interest rate. Multiply to the power of a 12th, take away 1. Now I thought we'd maybe try copying and pasting the formulae from before, because it is the same formulae. However, the cell references are slightly wrong. So the repayment is actually in cell C10 rather than C11. But interest payment is the same formula, and capital content and the new balance, they are also the same. So to find out how long this is going to take to pay off, we'll just take that second row of the table for month 1, fill it down quite a bit, and just keep on going until you get to negative balances. and then you can delete everything beyond after the loan is paid off. Final repayment will be less, so I've done this by doing final balance plus final interest, and you can see the final balance is 0, which they're just showing with a hyphen. We are asked to, in the next part of the question, we are asked to work out how much is saved in repayments. So there's really two ways you could do this. One is you could take the sum of all of the interest and the sum of all of the capital content, and for one schedule, and also do that for the other schedule, and then do one, take away the other. Or the simpler way is just to take sum of all of the repayments. You could also take the sum of all the interest and see which one you paid less interest in total. So I'm going to add in some. I'm just going to work this out in the spreadsheet. I'll have two columns, two cells. One will be the sum of all of the payments for the new schedule. So we see total repayment on the loan of £25,000 of 26,827 and 19 pence. Also need to do the same thing for the first schedule. So I'm going to make this total repaid 1 and total repaid 2, which I'm just fiddle about with this. This will be total repaid 1 and total repaid 2. Now for the first schedule, we do a cross sheet cell reference. So sum as before, and the quick way to do this is just to click at the bottom on the sheet you need, highlight all the cells you want to add up, and then close bracket and return. And we are still inside the formula editor for the cell on the other sheet. So you can see at the top of the page there the cross sheet cell reference with mortgage and an exclamation mark, which means we're referencing the sheet called mortgage. If we type a closed bracket and press return, it will give us the it'll complete that formula. So how much is saved on the loan? We can see we can do one number, take away the other. And I've just taken off formula view there. So total repaid 1 minus total repaid 2, and we save £423.55. So don't forget to print. So we'll print in value view as previously, and all the settings should be there from before. Now we also need to print in formula view. So you would go to formulas, show formulas as before, and then check print preview. We have a slight issue here that everything has become very small. So the reason for this is we've added these extra cells at the side to work out the amount that's been saved. Sometimes the spreadsheet will be set up for you with a print region where it'll only print certain areas of the sheet, but it appears in this case they haven't. So they should try and make sense of this, but I would maybe try and print only the main part of the table, just to make the font size larger. So you could achieve this by just highlighting the part of the sheet that you want to print, and then if you go back into print preview and go to not print active sheets, go to print selection, and you'll see that looks a lot nicer and the font's a lot larger and easier to read. and there you have the second page. So that all looks good. Assume that they wouldn't give you the mark for part C, part 2 from the printout, but they have given us a box to fill in, so let's fill it in. The amount saved was £423.55. And again, just remember, make sure you print everything value view and formula view. If you don't have formula view, they can give you some of the marks, but they can't give you all of the marks.